I feel sorry for people that lease the Toyota Tacoma. Well, good morning, and how are you today? Pretty good here, and I gotta say, I really do feel sorry for people that lease the Toyota Tacoma. Now, I know a lot of you are gonna say, well, wait a minute, I've got a lease. Why do you feel sorry for me? Well, it has to do with mods. You know, all of us, I think a majority of us, that buy the Toyota Tacoma, at least in this forum, mod it. They like to mod it. Sooner or later, you're going to catch the modding bug, right? Now, you've got a leased Tacoma, so you have a bit of a conundrum here, right? You have to decide whether or not you're going to go ahead and put that piece or that part or that sticker or that headlight or whatever it is on your leased Toyota Tacoma. Now, don't worry, not all is lost here, because there are a few things that you need to consider that will enable you to mod your leased Tacoma. So, first of all, realize that it is a lease, right? You don't own it. In essence, you're renting it for some period of time. You know, much like an apartment, right? I mean, when you lease your apartment, you can't go in and start ripping out walls and tearing out cabinets and doing things that are permanently going to change that apartment. Your landlord's probably going to have a problem with you, and you're going to end up paying a lot more money than that original lease that you signed up for, right? It's the same thing with the Toyota Tacoma. Now, it is no problem if you buy it out, right? If the plan in the beginning was to go ahead and lease it for some period of time, you know, to keep a lower payment, maybe put less down, something like that, and then buy it out down the road, no big deal. The company you're leasing it from doesn't care what you do to the truck if you do that. And they're not going to come in and revalue it or take a look at it or inspect it or anything like that. Now, if you do decide that you're going to turn it back in at the end of the lease period, then that's why I feel sorry for people that lease their Toyota Tacomas. Because if you've modded it, you're going to have a problem. You know, they are going to send an inspector out to take a look at it, right? They've got to make sure that that Tacoma that they're getting back is the same as that Tacoma that they gave to you in the beginning, minus normal wear and tear, of course. They're going to put those little cards up with the little holes on them to check to make sure that the diameter of the little dent in the truck isn't too big, or they're going to ding you for that. They're going to do the same thing with any mods that you might add, because chances are, if you've added a mod to the truck, you've taken something OEM off, right? I mean, let's say the taillights, for example. You know, I replaced the taillights on my Tacoma. My Tacoma is not leased, but if it were, that would be a problem for me, because when that inspector comes out to take a look, he's going to see that those taillights aren't the same ones that came with the truck. And he's going to want the same ones back on the truck when you drop it off, right? Reason being is because the next person they go to sell that Tacoma to might not like those tinted lights. And they might want stock, and that's going to cost the dealer either a sale or more money to go ahead and take your nice shiny taillights off and put the OEM stock version back on. So the truck isn't as valuable to the dealership once they get it back with things that are changed. I mean, let's face it, we don't all like the same mods, right? That's evident everywhere. You certainly can see that in some of the comments on my channel, right? Not everybody loves everything that I do. So they want a truck back that's vanilla, right? They want it the same way that it was when you leased it. They want it stock. Now, a couple things you can do. One, you can keep the old parts, right? Which you should do. If you're leasing a vehicle and you're going to turn it back in and you're going to mod it, keep the stock parts, because you can replace your nice shiny modded stuff with the original OEM parts. You can put it back to stock so that you don't have to deal with that problem. And you certainly should do that before that inspector comes out to take a look at your Tacoma. Make sure that you do that. Very important. Now, don't do anything permanent, right? I mean, don't start drilling holes in the side of the truck, because that's a permanent change and they don't want that. That's going to cost you. They're going to charge you to fix that, the same as they're going to charge you to rebuy, because you're going to be rebuying plus labor, those OEM parts to put back on the truck. Now, there is one other way to avoid this, and that is the trade-in. You know, I think a lot of people are under the impression that if you lease a vehicle, you must keep it until the lease is over. That isn't true. You can trade off a leased vehicle exactly in the same way as you can trade off a financed or owned vehicle. The only difference is when you signed that lease, you committed to a number of payments, and you are liable for those number of payments. So when you take that truck in to trade it off, they're going to look at the value of the truck minus the number of payments that you owe, and you're still liable to make those payments. Now, the good part about it is a lot of times if you're near the end of the lease, say you've got 2 or 3 payments left, and you're dealing with a dealership that owns the leasing company that you're leasing through, they will forgive or erase those last 2 or 3 payments so that you don't have to worry about it. Also, when you do that, they don't care about the mods that you've done. They're not going to start charging you to put the truck back to stock. Now, that's not to say that they're not going to value that truck as less, because maybe the mods that you put on are extreme or severe enough that they're going to have to replace them anyway. So it still can affect the value of the truck once you go to trade it back in. And of course, that's going to cost you some money as far as the trade-in value and the overall picture as to what it's worth plus your lease payments when you trade it in on that new truck. You've probably heard the term upside down. I would say that if you've done that, you're probably going to be upside down, meaning you owe more in lease payments and truck value than what the truck is worth. So these are things that you need to consider if indeed you're going to go ahead and mod your lease truck. I say I feel sorry for people that lease their Toyota Tacomas only because of that mod bug that we all get, right? And you're going to get it too. After you drive that around for a while, and if you're active in any of these forums or videos or see other trucks driving down the road that have been modded, you're going to start to want to do that yourself, because let's face it, the Toyota Tacoma is a blank canvas and it looks awesome modded. You're going to want to do it too. Just beware of these few things so that if you do that, you at least go in knowing what the possibilities are should you turn that truck back in at the end of the lease, trade it off, or decide to buy it. Anyway, just wanted to get on here, kind of go over that a little bit, because it's something that I wasn't necessarily aware of when I put that first mod on my first Tacoma. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. Have you ever leased a Toyota Tacoma, done some mods to it, and then had a big surprise when you went to turn it back in at the end of the lease? You know, when that inspector came out and started pointing out things that were missing on the truck? I'd be curious to know. Also, if you haven't before and you're interested, check out my other channel. It is RobMotive JT, all about my slightly modded Jeep Gladiator up there. Don't forget to click that notification bell on the way out so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. And do me a favor, smash that subscribe button. Happy modding. Stay safe out there. Bye.